What's going on, everybody? Shane here with KNAC, and I'm joined by the legendary Michael Weikath. How are you doing today, my friend?
Well, I've had to wake up early because I had a meeting with a notario assessor, whatever, about like tax things and whatever. So I had to be up early, which I don't know. I got up at 10:30, which is totally unusual for me. Usually I'm never awake before 2 in the afternoon or something, right? But yeah, made it, done that, got there.
Hey, it's a good start to the day, you know. Early meetings, they're fun, right?
Amazing. I just hope everyone's as awake as I'm not. But that's that with the daylight saving time. Well, it's got to be set to 1 and then just not care about it. I mean, it's not worth the trouble always each time. And I'm a proponent of letting it go, like set it to a particular hour and then keep it that way.
Exactly. It doesn't make any sense to me. But either way, we're here to talk about the upcoming US tour. Now, the European anniversary tour, man, you guys brought out some deep cuts, some old tracks. We getting any surprises out here in the States?
No, it's going to stay the same set list as it is, and then there's like two little exchange tracks that if you're playing the same venue or whatever, there's some extra time or demand or whatever, then you have like two tracks in the background that you could eventually perform then, right? But I think it's like a very strong set list. It's very good. It's not worth changing, really. I mean, like if we went to the rehearsal room just to do different things or whatever, because it went down so well. I enjoy it, which is not always the case. You know, sometimes you have a set list and you go like, oh, and then there's that, okay, you got to play it properly. Oh, there's that bit where you got to, you know. And I mean that's all running fine. I mean there's no need to change anything. And I'm pretty sure if people would go like, they're playing the same set list as they did before, as I've seen on YouTube. Yeah, what? You know, it's like there's surely another amount of people who would gladly have it and go like, yeah, that's exactly the way I wanted it. That's the way I liked it. I wouldn't like them to change anything. Whatever, you know, you can't be anyone's darling.
Like,
And what's
exactly. Exactly. I'm saying it's a great set list. I was going to tell you not to change it anyway. So I'm glad to hear that. Because I know you also mentioned that sometimes the best, like the sweet spot for adding new songs, or it's like maybe three or four new songs, and you try to, play some older tracks. Has that changed at all? Or you still feel like, yeah, just, a few new songs here and there. That's about it.
Yeah, it's you got that amount of must-do tracks, so to say, and yeah, I mean that's not so much leeway in there really, and it's each time pretty problematic, you know, till everyone goes like, yeah, that seems to be the set list. Seems pretty good. Think so? Yeah, yeah. We're always pretty glad when we're at that point when we can say, okay, that's the damn set list, and that's how we're gonna do it. I mean, really. And I think it's interesting enough. I mean, there's been King for 1,000 years. I mean, when have we played that for the last time? I'm actually enjoying it,
Yeah,
you know. And I got that custom-made new guitar, you know, that comes right there when we play it, and it's like, okay, you can present your new custom-made guitar. King for 1,000 years. I mean, I enjoy it. I enjoy
it,
it.
exactly. I actually was going to ask about that. You're playing King for 1,000 years again. Do you see that as like a living, evolving song? Are you enjoying playing it every night, or did it get some used? You took some getting used to again?
No, I do enjoy it. Like if you were imagining you have some, yeah, humbucker Gibson guitars, which we have, and if you play it properly, you know, then you can crank quite some moody stuff out of it, you know, like say Les Paul, whatever. I mean, we're not playing Les Pauls there, but something similar. And then you go like, always reminds me of that old Blue Oyster Cult On Your Feet, On Your Knees, you know, where they had their warm, good sounding guitars. And I go like, yeah, that's kind of like this. I enjoy it. It's like we've done those riffs back then. and you didn't think much about it. But then, like, if you have a good sound, a good venue, a good ambience, and you go like with some guitars going like, that's something that's good. And I almost forgot. I mean, we played it back then because, well, we had rehearsed it, we had recorded and stuff. But it's a short version, an abbreviated version that we're presenting. Pretty good the way it is, I think. And there's other tracks where you go like Tokyo or whatever. You get some serious Les Paul power moments going on there, warm and round, you know. We're doing these whatever digital sound sources. What's it called? XFX 3, right? And that thing has like 260 optimized amps stored in there, like, and it's producing more or less the real sound or even better. And then you got those sounds. You got a Friedman, you got like a Marshall, and then it switches automatically because it's coming from the computer system in the back of where the Danny plays his drums. And then you have those MIDI events that go out to our switching boxes in front of the stage. We don't have to walk there and push any button because the system is doing it right then.
I know the whole entire like soundscape of guitar playing has changed. And I know you're a huge Beatles fan, you love all the classic stuff, and you're
Hmm.
still on the search for like good tones. Is that still the case? Are you always out there looking for something? You always change your mind how you want your tone to be?
No, no. Finally, we have it. We have it now. It's like back then. You had like I had that Stratocaster here. You know, that's like the first very one that my mom bought for me. Can anyone see it, or we just
Yes, yeah,
radio?
they could see it. Hell yeah.
Okay, and so that thing was like 450 marks. It's like an Oakland Stratocaster, and it has a mahogany body, right? So it sounds very good. These are Velvet Hammer pickups, US made from 77, 78. Meanwhile, one piece cost like 360 euros one piece, right? Back then, it was like you wanted a replacement pickup, like oh, Merlins.
Oh, da ist ja noch einer. Da ist ja noch ein Michael.
Ja, guten Tag.
Ja, wieso
we're
hab
doing-
ich denn,
Yes,
wieso sieht man mich denn nicht?
Amazing, then I don't have balls. Anyways, replacement pickmark. First I had...
Hey,
hey, good day.
You. Yeah, sorry, I'm a bit late because I was having a good conversation with the other guy. Half an hour is just ridiculous. I'm always
Don't-
telling the lady, you know, don't make these half an hour interviews. You can't really have a chat with someone. But she did it again. It was a great discussion we had, and I almost forgot about the time.
this is a surprise to me. So I didn't even know you were going to join us, so I appreciate it.
Maybe it's because we're both Michael.
Yeah, exactly. But hey,
No, and
you know what?
We're asking about sound and whatever, and then you got like a replacement humbucker pickup, and at that time, like 85, 87 or whatever, they would give you some metal sounding, super screechy, mean bastard, heavy metal pickup. And then you took the guitar, you went like, grat, 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 you know, and it was also brutal and so cold, actually. Now, meanwhile, we have those things, that warmth that you're talking about, like Beatles were playing Fender amps. I've gotten myself like a Princeton reverb, which is here, and then you play into it, and yeah, then you got it. It's just like the producer wouldn't transport that on the record. On the record, you have just Marshall, just a very, very good Marshall. That's what you're listening to, no? Okay, now we can go on. You can say whatever you wish to Shane.
Yes, again, I'm Shane. Thank you for joining me, other Michael. So again, this is the interview of Michael's that I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, and Michael's interview.
Yes, yes.
I swear, she sent me this link and said that I have to do an interview at this time. I mean, I just clicked on it, you know?
I'm not going to tell you to leave, you know. So I appreciate you joining in, and thank you again. We were just talking about the tone, we are talking about the new set lists and everything, or the same set list. So I guess I will ask you, how do you feel about the set list and everything? What were you excited to play on this last European anniversary tour? Because I said it's a perfect set list.
I think so too. When you said it, when you try to get it together, of course, everybody has different opinions, but we're kind of grooved in Also listening a little bit to what our manager says, because he has a more like an objective view, like from the more like from the fan perspective, because he is a fan of the band, and he's not interested in any particular songs to be played. He doesn't care about these things. Whatever comes across good. So it's like, I mean, I learned over the last couple of years to step back, to not trying to have an opinion about everything, and it makes life a lot easier when you leave things to other people. It's like, especially when you're young, you have more difficulties to do that. But when you get older, it's just so much better when you give things away. It's like when it comes to the set list, I have my thoughts, and I do say some things, but in the end, I must say, it always turns out great, and it always turns out right somehow. I mean, even if we would change it, it would still probably work. And sometimes we change a little, like after the first two or three shows or something like that, to optimize certain things. But in general, it comes together pretty fine.
Yeah, again, the set list I think is phenomenal. It's blending a lot of the, Giants Monsters, some new songs, and then you got some older tracks. And speaking
And
of
I
which,
sing the keeper version of Andy's time with him together now too. It's like people are used in the early years that we do the Pumpkin United thing, that I'm singing like the classics with Andy together, like Keeper and Helloween. So now we do an Andy classic with me together, which I thought, I didn't even think about it when they suggested it, and then I understood. Oh yeah, that makes sense. So it's not, now I'm singing an Andy Keeper song with him together, and we could do a lot of things like that because the band is around for a couple of days.
I mean, a couple of days, it's a
Yeah,
pretty big monumental 40 years y'all are
yeah.
celebrating. So I will
And I'm
say,
just 25. Think about it.
hey, I mean, I hope hey, I'm 25 too, I'm I'm getting up there, but I want to say too, since you've been around so long, you guys just did a track, This Is Tokyo. It clearly comes from a, real place of gratitude and memory, fondness of Tokyo.
Yeah.
Come on, we getting the states getting a song? Los Angeles, this is Los Angeles. Am I getting that?
I mean, you have at least lines. I remember that Waikiki sometimes has lines in it that have to do with America somehow. I can't remember of anything specific, but it might happen. It needs a specific love affair, with this. I mean, Japan was always special, and it has. I don't know if you've ever been there. It's like the whole flair of Japan is very, very different to any other place. And of course, we only see the chocolate side. When you come there, you only see what's beautiful about it. I'm sure they have other sides too, but it's like, especially Tokyo and Japan is always a great experience, and we do have a love affair to Tokyo. So it's like when Andy wrote this song, I don't think that anyone disagreed with it.
Once in 1990, I went to New York for 3 months, and then I stayed there with a friend. I had that nicotine Strat guitar with me, and like a little Marshall and a Metal Master, and I needed like a power converter from like 110 to 220, right? Because that device I was using had that, so it was always running hot. Actually, the way the Rain Grows track was conceived there, right? It was more or less in New York. So it's like a New York track. And Pink Cream 69, they had a track called Hello USA. That's what they did, right? The Giants, actually, the Giants from the Chameleon record, like the Giants of like the high-rise buildings and stuff in New York. Like when we went there by plane on the first time, like Ingo and me, we were invited to like RCA building and stuff, BMG, to have interviews or like speak with the staff and stuff. And on that way, there was like the first time to get there to New York City. And that was Giants, like the skyscrapers and stuff, like the line of buildings, right? That was supposedly New York. And then I was like, yeah, what lyrics do you write to that? Little inside.
I remember that some of it's like there. I think there are even more spots that are inspired by America. I mean, America is extremely influential for a number of years, especially, I mean, after the Second World War. Germany was highly influenced by America. So it's only natural that it appears. I mean, I remember how excited I was when we toured there for the first time in '87. That was pretty amazing to. It's like, I mean, you know all these places from the movies, and then suddenly you'll be there. Like I said, America is almost everywhere. You know, it's kind of everywhere with its influences. It doesn't need a particular song like Japan, Tokyo.
Hey, it's good or bad. My grandfather he came from Cuxhaven after in '55, so he told me all
Did they
about it,
cook a
the
lot there?
differences.
Did they cook a lot there, Cuxhaven?
Soft, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. They cook there.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully I pronounce it right. But you know how it is coming over here, especially from Europe. Everybody, when you first come over here, you don't realize how big the states are. You don't realize
Oh
all
yeah,
the influences, how different each state is,
yeah,
you can almost say it's like a different country
and
as
so much
opposed,
space in between.
yeah.
It's like traveling with the bus from one state to the other. It's like, wow. Yeah. And without trying to kiss anyone's butt, but it's like when you're in America, you also, I mean, I'm always surprised how friendly people are, and also quite open hearted. It's like very different to the image that comes across to the media very often. That's why I'm always telling people, go to America, you know, go there yourself.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a great country.
Yeah, our politicians don't speak for us.
Politics is a different story,
Don't want
you
to.
know, and
Nope,
the
nope,
media
nope.
is a different story too. It's like for every country, you have to go there to get an idea because the average person is always a different story.
Mhm.
In every country, you'd be surprised. I'm telling you, there's no country on this planet where you wouldn't find nice people.
You either go to Maryland or you go to Jacksonville, and you're going to meet some pretty different people.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's, especially in Europe too, you're so close together, influences blend over. Everybody's got their own story and everything is different. Influences are different. Look at
Yeah.
metal. And what I
Yeah.
wanted to ask you guys as well was, I mean, when you all started, you didn't realize you were creating a subgenre of metal, and now you guys are hailed as the godfathers of power metal. Have you
Yeah.
seen these influences bleed into other bands, and are you excited when you see, hey, they kind of sound like us?
I've always felt like when I was saying, hey, why don't you take like anthemic melodies and put like some heavy metal guitars underneath, right? And why not? And then everyone was like, oh, I don't know, I'm not so sure if that's a good idea and stuff. And it was bound to happen actually. And I always felt like, we rather do that before anyone else comes up with that idea, right? I mean, Judas Priest, they were pretty close,
Yeah.
right?
Everybody
And
is influenced. I
that,
mean, when you start as a band, you have bands that you're excited about. I mean, for me, it was bands like Maiden, Judas Priest, Queensrÿche, Metallica, and of course, it shapes you. And then you get together with musicians, and they have slightly different influences, or to a certain extent the same. And then you create something out of the excitement that you have for those other bands. So it's like I'm always saying, the originality comes from the individualities that gives everything a specific tone. And even if someone like Weikath, for instance, if he would really try to write a song in the style of whatever Maiden or Judas Priest or whatever, it would still sound like him because he has his own fingerprint in terms of songwriting. And I think that's where the originality comes from. When you look at Fast as a Shark from Accept, for instance, with the guitar solo, it's very Helloween. It's like I don't even think we created something that you can really call a genre. It's just we did things our own way, and that gave it a specific flavor, and that was inspiring for others, like other bands were inspiring for us. I mean, maybe Weikath was a little bit more with his mind involved, like when you hear him describe how he was thinking of, he functions like that a little. He has these ideas in his head, and so he's much more intentionally creating things that he finds exciting. But I strongly believe that the power of the personalities, and when you have a bunch of people coming together, they create something that has its own dynamic, and that makes something original. You can have a great band covering a song of another band, and it sounds totally different. So the more power of individuality this band has, the more different it's going to sound. I mean, this is why you have situations, and sometimes the cover version of a song gets more successful than the original, because the band that covered that song had a way to lift it up to another level by the way they performed it. So I'm a strong believer in identity, and the more a band has that, the more it becomes special, because it's very hard to define what is a new style. You know what I mean?
It seems like you're never the ones to say we're making a new style or a new genre. People give you that label, and then you're like, I guess this is us. I mean,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
just have
but
to.
you can ask any band. You could talk to Nirvana, and they wouldn't be able to tell you what grunge is supposed to be. You know, because it's labels that
Mhm.
usually magazines or the press, the media gives to things to put it into a box. But in the end, you're influenced by other bands, and you make your own thing out of it. And if it has an original sound, it comes across like a new style. But I'm sure all of these bands can tell you where they stole from, you know, where they learned from, you know.
The Steel Tormentor track, for one, I'm in the vein of like a Judas Priest song for myself, because I couldn't quite find stuff like that on the Jugulator album. So I was like, okay, so this record doesn't do it for me so much, so I got to write a new Judas Priest song for myself.
Yeah.
And I even dream once at a festival. I was talking to Robbie Halford, and I had like a CD with like a Steel Tormentor on it, and I wanted to give it to him for a listen and say like, what you say, like if you were singing it, right? But he was diverted. He was like, yeah, whatever. I got things to do. Bye.
After so many years of writing riffs, do the ideas come naturally on the road? Do you get ever inspired where you're traveling or you're on tour and you're like, you know what? Hold on, I got to write down this riff or try to remember it.
There's that thing on the iPhone. You have the voice memos, right?
Mhm.
And then if some idea comes to you or whatever, I don't rely on remembering it ever, because you won't. I mean, like a day later, you were like, well, what was that idea? And like, no, gone. Fuck.
Yep. You
You know,
got to record it. You got to work it out when it's there. Otherwise, it fades away.
record it right away, sing it so you can hear it, because like whistling doesn't do it. It's like a week later, you go like, oh, there's been that great idea, and
Eh?
no, that doesn't work. You got to do.
Exactly. You gotta try to bring it to the point as far as you can in that moment. If if you
Yeah,
have the possibility to record it, just try to print it down somewhere. Otherwise, it's gone. Or like when you
really,
have an idea, or even just a dream when you wake up, that is a good story. If you don't write it down right away, it's gone. It just fades.
that's it.
So you're saying we may catch a glimpse of you going into your phone. Nope. Oh, wait. Yep, that's
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Whatever comes to your mind that
Yeah,
that how you think it should be, you gotta print it down, because even an hour later it might be gone.
write a description.
Yeah.
Like if the audio isn't clear, write an additional description going like, okay, this goes like bridge of whatever in the vein of whatever, and then
Yeah.
you maybe
You get
find
back
the.
into the mindset. If you can you imagine how many songs get lost because people don't do that?
I'm assuming it's a little bit easier now with technology. I
Oh
guess
yeah.
that's what I was getting with,
Oh
as
yeah.
opposed to back in the day where you had to jot everything down, or it's like, hey, can you remember this for me?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, in many ways, technology is a great help. I mean, it has gone a little too far, because even
Ugh.
crappy musicians can fake being good musicians these days, because the computer can do everything. But if you only use it, for how much it is a help for speeding things up or something, it's a different story. It's like everybody has a smartphone nowadays. So if you have an idea, you can record it wherever you are. When I was still really into writing songs, I had a little tape recorder with me to capture ideas. Now you don't have to do that anymore, because you can do that on your iPhone.
Speaking of which, with this European anniversary you guys did, this killer set list you're going to bring over here, has there been any songs that, vocally speaking, kind of taking a little bit more to prepare for?
Every song is kind of different. The one that I find very like demanding is Universe somehow. I'm easily getting out of breath in that one. So it's like I like things to vary. Like a song like Keeper, for instance, is great to sing, even though it is very acrobatic from what you do, but it has so many movements in there, up and down and high and low. But everything that is just constantly the same, like a song like The Trooper would be from Iron Maiden. It's like the same tone all the time. I find that stressful. So I'm glad when we have very melodic songs.
Exactly. So that's what I was saying. Did you guys arrange this set in a specific way, vocally speaking, or was it more
No,
like performing, or you're like, this
it's
works?
all just about what seems to be working well. And if I really struggle with something, I usually always get my way in. You know, you find the way of doing it. You learn to sing it. I mean, this is how I learned a lot of the things. I mean, some of the songs in the early years, they were just writing, and I needed to learn to sing them. And by that, you improve as a singer. You know, you work your way into the song. It's the same live a little bit. It's all about what makes sense as a set list, and then you try to do it. If something would come up that really sucks, then I complain, and then we might change it. But usually it works.
Boy, by talking about this, it's kind of interesting. Whenever I had demos to present to him, or we had no demos, and I had to mimic it to him, and this part goes like. You can bet that guy would always sing like every freaking nuance that I wanted of him, and he did it. Huh? Always.
I remember Keeper of the Seven Keys, Eagle Fly Free. You had these ideas in your head, and then you try to figure it out. But it's like, especially when you don't write a song yourself. When you write a song for yourself, you play with what you know. Also, as a singer, you kind of naturally do whatever feels good for you. But if someone else writes a song and he writes differently, that's when you come out of your comfort zone and learn something else, you know?
So also, again, 40 years, insane anniversary. You guys have fans of all ages. And I do want to highlight something because when I said I had this interview, so many more people were more excited than I was excited. I got me a Helloween, Keeper of the Seven Keys flag back there, all the vinyls and everything. But I want to showcase how diverse your fans are. So I have two questions from an older original fan, my one buddy Carrie, and his
Right.
question is the first Helloween albums I heard were the two Keeper of the Seven Keys records, and they immediately stood apart from everything else I was listening to at the time. I enjoyed the album that followed, but the next one that gave me that same kind of excitement was Better Than Raw. Looking back, do you think something about the band's chemistry or mindset during that album led to the feeling, or was it simply natural result of where the songwriting had evolved by then?
Yeah, it was more a thing of what tracks came together that were collected to be recorded and stuff. One engineer of the studio who was also working with us beforehand at the studio he said, hey, I know some pretty modern frequencies you can put on there, whether you have like the Time of the Oath or the Master of the Ring. It's sounding warm and but kind of old-fashioned, which he wanted to put onto everything. And the Better Than Raw has originally been recorded on a radar system, but transferred to a Pro Tools. I was asking that because I didn't like the ceramic sound of the radar. And so I said, please, whatever you can, I mean, keep the drums that way if you want to, but transfer all the other tracks onto Pro Tools. It sounds warmer and rounder for my taste, I think. And Tommy Hansen said, yeah, okay, if you want me to add those frequencies, I do that, right? And so you hear quite a difference in the general sound, and that's how the whole thing came about, basically. And then it's a matter of the selection of the very tracks you get to hear.
The last question from a friend is a younger fan who's younger than me in his 20s, and he actually has a guitar question, and he wanted to know, when you were sharing the studio space with Creator, was it true? Did you help them tune their guitars for the record Endless Pain?
No, that's a legend, I think. Because we didn't ever record together with them. We were just in the same studio after they had recorded theirs.
And we never tuned the guitars anyway.
No. and they had already left. But that's one of those legends people come up with, like, because they would like to have the story run that way, you know, like they got together and then no, I mean they were pretty much set about anything they were doing. The creator guys, I would guess.
Those questions ranging from the different fan bases. Again, you have older fans, younger fans. Is there something that surprises you now at shows? Do you still enjoy seeing, you know, I've seen families at the shows out here now. Do you enjoy that generational period of the band?
Can't beat that experience. I mean, when you get to see that, and I don't know, from a certain point on, you're seeing the first 3 rows or what, because like they remember they had like their special moments with the family, or when they met a loved one for the first time in summer or whatever, and then they listen to particular Helloween tracks and whatever, or the way things are building up from the intensity or whatever. Then you're in that concert, you're having a good sound, hopefully, going on. You get into that mindset of, and then they just can't keep it together anymore. They start crying lots of times ever since the United tour, right? And then they got the Michael, they got the Darius, they got the Hanson there, and they go like, oh my God, what's happening here?
Yeah, I remember that. I remember the first time we played Save Us in South America again. There was that girl crying in the phone. And I was like, wow. It's like, but it's like in terms of the generations you attract, that happens when you're around for a long time. Iron Maiden will have the same thing. When you successful for a long time, you just like 3 generations or even more or less that you have fans in, from, and that's why you have very young ones and very old ones and everything in between. And when you have a longer career, that tends to happen.
That's a cult aspect building up over decades, right? It's cult. Then whatever you do, or there's a particular part that was made very well or whatever, and then it's just like clinging with like the feelings of the people and stuff, and then suddenly boink and that goes.
Yeah.
Exactly, that carrying on. I mean, it's something to say. Most bands, even if you have been around a long time, they don't necessarily get to that point where you have generations and families getting there. Because I have my mom's old Halloween, original Halloween vinyl she gave me. I think it's Keeper of the Seven Keys, actually.
And that's the thing with a vinyl by itself. I mean, it just sounds a lot more magic if you put it on a turntable in comparison to a CD version that may as well be well mastered and everything. But vinyl experience is like a particular one in itself.
Absolutely. I myself enjoy listening to full records still. Do you think that is a problem with modern music nowadays? Everybody's so worried about a single instead of enjoying a full album?
I don't know if it's a problem in rock music that much. I think that kind of state. I like to think it kind of stayed that way, that people are still into records, and when it comes to pop music, it was always a bit like that, wasn't it? I mean, it was always about singles, and then they made a record with 9 crappy songs and 2 good
One hit
songs, and then
wonders, right?
yeah, rock music in general was always record oriented. I don't have the feeling that it goes away. The younger generations maybe, but I think they have always been like that outside of the hard rock music scene. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't have the impression that in the rock or metal music scene that it has really changed, has it?
I mean, for me personally, I know a lot of younger bands out here. They tell me, differently. They're like, not a lot of people listen to full albums or their attention spans aren't there. But as
Right.
opposed to, the older fans and everything, and not saying that I'm old, but I
That
still
could be.
enjoy
That could.
listening to the whole album because
Well,
it's an
they can listen to
experience.
the whole album with breaks in between. If the concentration span is lasting for 3 songs, then take a little break, have a coffee or a tea, and they'll listen to another 3 songs or something like that. So they can still listen to the whole record, but maybe not in one go if it's too much.
Hey, but speaking of, singles and picking out tracks, did you guys have any particular songs you guys wanted to do for that anniversary run or this one coming up? That any input?
I had a whole bunch, but we can't play them all. I mean, if we would play all the songs we would like to play, it would be a 5-hour set at least.
I'm not opposed to that.
Oh, you just got to think of your bodily possibilities there, because we're all just human after all. And then, ooh, I mean, like the United Tour was already like 2.5, 3 hours.
No, it was over 3 hours. It was over 3 hours. I mean, not necessarily continuous playing time, but we had all these video sequences in between, and that made it almost 3.5 hours. When we did a lot talking and fooling around, in addition to that, we were like always more than 3 hours. I'm talking about the first one we did in 17.
Yeah, I was there. That was great. I had a killer time because nobody expected you guys to come out and do the United tour. So I was all for it. Longer set. It was simply amazing. And I saw you guys have new visuals and stuff. Are you bringing about the same visuals, or can we expect something different for the American one?
Kind of the same quality, whatever. We are having about 5 screens right now. I mean, that's going to be a bit limited, but from what I heard, it's going to be purported as well as possible.
I hope so, but it's going to be smaller. It's definitely going to be smaller. We're not playing at big places in America. It's not going to be as big as in Europe. So it's got to be a little bit of a reduced set. I don't know. I haven't got a clue what we'd take with us. It would be great. I mean, we should take some with us, you know.
I mean, from what I heard, the video screens are being rented each time. They're going to be, no, so it's going to run somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've seen you guys at the LA show. You're playing the same theater that I've been to, so those are pretty big screens.
That was a bigger one. Yeah, LA was one of the bigger shows.
It was an amazing show. I asked if everything had been recorded, and yes. So at a certain point, it's possible you get to see that performance from back then. Eventually, I would like to.
Was that the show where Chris Jericho came on the scene?
Yes, he came out. Yep, he came out. I thought that was cool. And I was like, hey, that's why he's Jericho from you guys, you know?
They even did some bits together on, I don't know what it was, Future World.
You mean with Jericho? I think it was Best Time.
He sang a few bits and then...
Best Time. He was singing Best Time. I didn't hear him. I didn't know what he was doing, but that was the one.
He was doing wrestling moves off the top of the stage.
That was the thing. Yeah.
So I want to start wrapping all this up with you guys. Again, monumental tour coming up with an amazing set list. I know we've talked about everything from the riffs to the vocal melodies now. Is there anything with this tour after this monumental occasion that you still feel is unfinished with Helloween? Is there still something you guys have to say?
Yeah, it has to be bigger and bigger.
Yeah, and we've always been dreaming of like Song Remains the Same, Led Zeppelin. They did that movie, right?
I mean, we have plans for something special. I think next time after this run, I'm not going to say what it is. Jan was having a great idea. It's something that we've never done like that. It's stupid to say something like that when you cannot say what it is. But yes, we do have some special things up our sleeves still.
I would have wanted to go down Antarctica, and play in front of 2 million penguins.
Well, that's a good, a good idea.
They're pretty curious, They want to hear, they want to see it, They come.
And then you can't move your fingers because it's so cold.
Yeah, exactly.
A volcano. Has anybody played in a volcano yet?
Sure, many times.
No, but I appreciate you guys taking the time to talk with me. It was definitely a surprise with getting both Michaels.
I probably got something wrong, but
No.
Go.
You're welcome. I mean, I was about not knowing what else to say, and then you came in. That's pretty good for me.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. I am looking forward to this U.S. run, which starts
4th of April, I think.
Yes, it's popping up right now. The graphic will pop up here. I know I will be at the show in May at Los Angeles. So I thank you guys, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and we're looking forward to the next run.
All right. Have a good one.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Take it easy.